Hey, welcome and to get real. I am super pleased to have Jake from JJ Transformations on today. I've known Jack for 22 years, since he was 2 years old. And the reason I wanted to get Jack on is because his business journey and transformation over the last 4 or 5 years is nothing short of amazing. And it's inspirational for everybody to listen to. So, welcome, Jack.
Thank you very much, Bob. Absolute pleasure, mate. Really, really appreciate it.
So tell people a little bit about yourself, what you do, and we'll go into
so I would say I'm an online fitness coach. So kind of what we do as a brand is take people from where they are now to where they want to be in a reasonably short time frame. And that's through physique and body transformations. We work with people all over the UK, US, Ireland, Australia, all the way around the world. And essentially it's about doing a physique transformation, but who they become as part of that journey, the mindset that they're going to have, and the education that we install in them. Obviously doing a few of the business consultant bits on the side at the minute, a little bit of mentoring for kind of younger online coaches coming up in the game at the moment. And then just generally, just living in Dubai at the same time.
So I can remember a conversation with you many years ago. I'm guessing it's 6, maybe 7 years ago, sitting in front of a wood burner fire at your parents' place in France, discussing what you were going to go and do with your life. And yeah, that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And like I said, the transformation of your life, your business, to me is astounding. At your age, I was living that in a very different way. But what you've got is what you've managed to achieve through damn hard work it's inspirational to people. You started out working, you were at Liverpool University, you went into a gym. Tell people how you started on this journey.
Yeah, so I was firstly released. I played football up until about 16, 17 avidly, and that's kind of all I thought I wanted to pursue. That didn't work out, and I thought, right, the next obvious step was going to be university. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I wanted to go and do sports science at university, and that's where I kind of fell into personal training as such. I was just looking for a part-time job at the time. I walked past the gym, handed in my CV. The next day, they called me up for an interview and said, look, this is going to be a full-time position only. Is this something you'd be interested in? And in that decision, I just said yes. I had nothing else to do. I was just in university. Never really was driven to be a personal trainer, but more so just enjoyed the gym. And ever since that moment, stepping forward into a gym in Liverpool, that's where I kind of really fell in love with it. Just the process of, helping people is what I truly love about my job. Even now on a day-to-day basis, I can completely transform somebody's life. The power that I can have on them for the next 5, 10 years, 15 years, not only across their fitness, but maybe in business, maybe in their mindset, maybe in their relationships. The impact that I can have on them, just through working online now, is what it is compared to like one-to-one it is absolutely incredible. And I absolutely love it. So that's where I kind of transitioned into one-to-one personal training for 2 or 3 years. Was in the gym floor for 30 to 40 sessions a week, all the way through university. And it got to, I think it was March 2020. That's when obviously lockdown hit, the gym shut, and they said, look, we can't do any personal training anymore. So I had to kind of pivot then. So I was finishing my degree at the same time, and I was kind of having a long think about, right, where do I want to go with this career? What are my options? The options were probably to stay in that employment role and kind of go down that kind of not corporate one-to-one route, which is a corporate PT route, which is like working for a company, getting a certain salary every month for a good company, professional company. And I thought, to be honest, I've probably got more in me. I'd always had this, like what Mark said there, this entrepreneurial spirit inside me, which wanted to chase that next thing, always wanted to progress. I've always been like that since I was a very, very young age. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go by myself. My mum and dad actually pushed me into it and said, right, you've not really got a social media following. You've not really got anything, but start building yourself one in the summer of 2020. Start coaching friends and family for free. You didn't have loads of experience at that time. And then it kind of really snowballed from there. From that moment forward, I didn't go back to work for that company. Didn't have to kind of really pursue that anymore. I did one-to-one PT for a small amount. But I think I hit six figures within the first 7 or 8 months of going self-employed, which is incredible, to be fair.
And that journey to six figures within 6 to 7 months, practically, apart from damn hard work, how did you make that happen?
So I think it was being relentless every day, setting a vision about what I wanted to achieve. And that vision was, I wanted to be the best well-known personal trainer in my town. And I hadn't lived there for, 4 years. I thought, I want to make a statement, and I want to be known for producing a certain level of result and having a standard of service, which was far superior to anyone else's. And that's what I did. I just worked so hard for those 1 or 2 years, worked, not even with a mentor, but just looked at kind of people within that industry. What were they doing? How could I make that better? Putting my own style of twist on things, with results, kind of creating my own marketing strategies. And it was literally just word of mouth at the time. Not many people were doing it. It was lockdown, there was, everyone had nothing to do. Everyone was so invested into health and fitness. I was signing up people every day for probably about £100 a month at that time. And then it really kind of snowballed. And I just kind of figured it out as I went along. I did obviously go down to hire a mentor down the line, which kind of systemized things and helped me from an entrepreneurial and business standpoint. But I think just solid graft and figuring everything out as I go. Like, I didn't have a clue where I started, but the most important thing I could take from that journey is just start now, and you'll figure it out as you go. Like, if you really want to do something, you work those 12, 14-hour days to get the shit done that you need to get done, to work hard, to hit the targets. And if you fail, you're going to learn from that. You're going to succeed next time around anyway. So I'd probably say, well,
you get your work ethic from your mum and dad. Your mum and dad are two of the most hardworking people I know. I've known them the same time as you, 20 odd years or 22 years. And what they've achieved in their lives is through damn hard work. And what you've got is that. You've got that work ethic to do it. A lot of people, as we discussed briefly before we started the recording, if you look at Instagram, TikTok, social media, being an entrepreneur now is being the new footballer, as far as I'm concerned. And there's a lot of BS about being an entrepreneur. If you look at your average social media feed, wherever it may be, it's portrayed as Ferraris, supermodels, beaches, and high-end living, and nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, some very well-off entrepreneurs achieve that, but they don't achieve it through anything other than hard work, maybe a bit of luck, but it's all hard work. And that's what this podcast is about. The word real is, we've got to be real. And people coming into doing anything for themselves, they've got to realize the amount of work. I know you've had your ups and downs over those years. It's easy to look at somebody now living in Dubai, great business, but the challenges you've had, which is what I want to talk a little bit about. But you mentioned mentor. When did you bring a mentor in? What pushed you to think, I need a mentor? Because for me, I've mentioned this in other podcasts before, mentors are tremendously powerful. They can help you with your network, with your skills. So what pushed you to make the decision to get a mentor?
I was thinking probably at the time I was 12, 18 months into it. Things were going really, really well. I'd already surpassed my targets and I was doing really, really well. It was that point where I wanted to scale, and it was the point where I wanted to bring on a staff member, but I didn't think I was ready. I didn't know how to operate systems within the business, structure my marketing properly with actual strategy behind it, how to create lead generation so I could predict it on a daily basis. Didn't track anything whatsoever within the business, and I was kind of just free rolling it. So there was somebody I was following from day one. His name was Mark Coles, and I listened. He had a podcast that has 165 podcasts in it. Now, this is how I built my business originally, was by listening to that podcast. I listened to all 165 episodes, and I took as much value for free as I could from that one podcast, which is incredible. Wow. And he knows that as well. Like, without him, I honestly say he's took me from earning my first £1,000 online to where I was. I left him like a year and a half ago. So that was immensely powerful going through that transition. And I actually had a mentor, I would say, before that, and I'd say, look, I've been listening to you for a year and a half. This is what I've done. He said, that's amazing. Now it's to get you to the next level. And it was one-on-one mentoring at the time. It was so much money for me to do, so much money. But having somebody who had been 25 years in the industry, in my opinion, is probably still the top of the UK fitness industry now in terms of the reputation, experience. For me to work with somebody like that, 21 years of age, was invaluable. He taught me standards, he taught me service, professionalism, how to run a business, and how to operate like an entrepreneur. That was invaluable. And I was with him for 2.5 years, like every fortnight we'd have a Zoom call, and I would look forward to it. Literally, I'd get my pen and paper ready, record the whole Zoom, record it on my voice notes as well. And then I would just go over and take as many notes as I could. I would just have a list of questions. I would literally just throw them at him, and then he would just bat them off. And then from that, we built the business together, as a great team. As he was scaling his, he wasn't actually doing a massive business mentoring program at the time. He was just kind of, doing one-to-one stuff. So as he was building his, he built a massive group program of more than 200 people. I was one of the first ones in it. Kind of from my success, obviously other people signed up, which was amazing. And it was great
win-win then, really.
Yeah, for sure. Like it was the most success I could have ever experienced was because of Mark. I still owe like so much to Mark, like even nowadays, even though I have a different mentor now and I'm trying different approaches, that it's amazing what a difference one person can make on your life. And I truly think, like, if that's possible for me, then I can have an impact on, other people's lives. Or if I'm going to help somebody build their business in future, I want to do the same for that person, because you truly can. I'm living abroad and that would never have been possible. I have an amazing girlfriend, I have an amazing apartment, ability to travel, online as well. Like before, when I was on the gym floor, I would have never thought that was possible, especially earning the money that I'm earning now from somebody who just knows fitness and has got a sports science degree. Is not normally that happens to people, to be fair. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, what prompted the move to Dubai?
So I'd become a little bit unfulfilled at home. So I'd moved home in, I think it was January. I'd moved home from Liverpool. I went full-time online. I'd scaled the business up. I'd started working with market in like March or April. And I was working really, really hard, but I felt a bit unfulfilled. I felt like there was more out there. I always wanted to live in a city because I'd been in a city for the last 3 years. I wanted to be around people that did similar things. I was the only online coach in my probably county at that time, which was probably on the same mission as me. I didn't have a network. I didn't have the right environment around me. Obviously, I could chat to my mum and dad about ideas, but they weren't really in it. Like my friendship group now, my 20 best friends do the exact same thing as me in the same square mile. So like, I knew where I wanted to be. It was going to be London or Dubai. They're the two options that I have really to kind of where I'm going to move to push. The Dubai weather is obviously a big pull for sure. And obviously the tax benefits, although it is, you obviously get tax benefits, but it's incredibly expensive to live. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. But the networks here, the weather, the lifestyle, the actual time difference as well, which I think people don't realize, being 4 hours ahead makes you super productive because you don't get disturbed in that early morning period when I do work. And yeah, just the ability to be able to be around people. Like some of my friends now are like multimillionaires. Like that's not possible where we're from in Ashby on just go for coffee in the morning, often and on. Maybe it is if you went and found it, but they're probably not in the same age range as me. So I think having to push yourself outside your environment or pushing yourself to, try new things, meet new people, I think it's incredibly important. And I did that at 20, 21, 22. And I was so, I wouldn't say scared, but very nervous to do that. I think over the past 2 years, I've very matured and, meeting different people, a lot more confidently than what I did before. But yeah, if I didn't take that step 2 years ago, then I'd be a very different person to what I am right now, for sure.
You've had a massive transformation. Not wishing to blow smoke up your ass, you've had a massive transformation. And you mentioned your girlfriend; she's in the industry as well. I look at you and I smile because you've got it all going on now. I worried personally on a friendship basis that you were perhaps a little bit too. Can you get too driven? Yeah, you can actually, and that was causing you to not have a personal life. And now you've got it all. And we'll talk about the next steps in a little while, but sitting there now, going through what you've gone through, building what you've built, how would you define success, and what does success mean to you? Because I'll preface that by saying, when I was your age, one of my biggest problems was that I was only focused on the money. And that screwed me up. I had got I was doing about 2 million a year, and I wanted to do 1 million a month. And only being focused on that and taking my eye off other balls caused me problems. Yeah. And I've learned now, being an old git at 48, 49 in 2 weeks, success is very different to what I thought it was when I was 24.
For sure. I think enjoying every day. Like, I felt like when I started this business, I haven't really worked a day ever. I've been very stressed and I've had the fear of failing, but it's enjoyable work for me that I'm doing. So I think because it's purposeful and because I enjoy it, I feel like that's a measure of success for me, enjoying every day, but also having the ability to balance things out. Before, I definitely got caught into a cycle of literally just work. Now I have periodic times of the week where I don't do any work, like Saturday, I don't do any work. Wednesday morning, I probably won't do any work. So like, I have systemized periods throughout the week where I have the ability to just rest. Obviously, for me, having an amazing relationship is so important to me right now, which I didn't realize before. Having an amazing friendship group, that's supportive, but just the ability to grow psychologically free. I think before, I was actually working with a mindset coach about a year ago, and I wasn't really enjoying every day because I had this fear of failure, constant anxiety, imposter syndrome, and I felt like everything was going to come crashing down that I'd built. So what I would do is I'd get stuck into like a rat race, and I'd have to run on this treadmill. Otherwise, the treadmill would stop, and it's game over for you, Jack. Like it's time to kind of come back to Ashby now and earn what you should be earning. So like that was kind of the thing that was always eating me up. And regardless of the success, regardless of the monetary success, or what I could do and travel and who I could be with, psychologically I didn't believe I'd achieved the success, or I didn't deserve it. That makes sense. So now I feel like I am the person who is in control of all that, which has been a lot of stuff that has happened to me in terms of like CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. There's done a lot of that, how to kind of, because obviously when you have this big spike in being the person who you want to be, and it all happens at once, it's very hard for when that materializes for you to actually acknowledge, oh fuck, this is where I am right now. So like that was a huge transition, but I think just operating for me every single day out of growth, not scarcity, being around the people that I love, having the ability to travel. The money's obviously great, but for me, it's more so building the thing, which is what's most exciting me, not actually the money. I'm not really materialistic. Yes, I have nice things, but I don't want a Ferrari. I'm not driven by that. My goal is to build something special with where I can pay my staff really well, build an amazing team, work towards a project where we're always trying to improve, and that is of course revenue driven as well, but always trying to go to that next level and constantly strive for improvement.
Success is freedom, and money is a tool. My first mentor told me the saying, business is a game, money just keeps the score. And another friend of mine used to say, money's just a tool. When I look back at my times of great success, I don't look at the amount of money I had in my bank. I looked at what we did. I look at the times that I still remember now. Now, yes, money to a degree had an input into us being able to do that. But if you're just constantly chasing the dollar, you're going to come unstuck at some point. And it's like you said, it's learning to live every day and enjoy it. And if you're doing a business that you enjoy, then that's not really work, as we know. But it strikes me that the Dubai move has increased your network astoundingly. I've said to people for years, your network is key, and we talked about mentors already. I think it's so important that that network of people and being able to, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. And that's incredibly important. And you've used a lot of mentors and coaches to get where you've got. And what I like is that you answered the success question about building something of importance. Yeah, you've got it. See, I like that because you already got that. And at your age, I didn't necessarily have that. That was something that was hard to learn. You mentioned about your team. How did you find building a team? Because to me, I'm not a great manager of people. I'm too soft, too hard. How have you found building a team to get where you got now, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was really hard. Since I first hired somebody like 21 years of age, the management's changed so much now compared to what it was. I think just having like very clear expectations from day one and like setting the standard. Like my staff now have like the most detailed standing operating procedures, KPI documents, so they know exactly what targets they need to hit and exactly how to do it. Like if I have to tell them something once, it's already written down or recorded, so they have kind of a Bible to go off. So they can't really make many mistakes if they're intuitive. You know, if they know how to operate, then they should be absolutely sweet. But yeah, incredibly rewarding because the impact that they can have on their lives, you know, coming away from the gym floor, being full-time online. One of my lads lives in California. You know, one of them wants to move out here. The other one's building a six-figure clothing brand as well, you know, off the back of working with us as well. So like seeing them as individuals grow, and they're like my brothers, like they really are very close to me. I speak to them every day. I've got 3 coaches. I've got an incredible assistant. I've got 2 lead generation specialists. And then we've got an ads team as well. I get on with everyone, and that's been the most important thing of growing a team is like get on with everyone really, really well. I would never hire someone, you know, when I hired somebody, like for example, the last time we hired a coach, we had 77 applicants. You know, we had to knuckle that down to like 1. So like I wanted to make sure that person was somebody I genuinely got on well with, you know, and bonded well with. But yeah, it's been really tough. Like I've had situations this week where I've had to discipline people. Like it's not been easy. People do make mistakes, and they're only human. As long as they learn from those mistakes, and they can get better. As long as they don't make the same mistake continually over and over again, they learn from that, and you put your foot down. Then, for sure, you know you should be absolutely fine. But it's a learning process. Like the more times you hire staff, the better you'll get. But just making sure you have the systems in place to deal with it's really important.
And it will never be perfect.
No.
If you were starting again, what would you do differently?
Just from a mindset perspective, be scared not to fail. Like just think you can't fail. Like I have the opinion now, like if I was to lose everything, I could start again and build it up again from scratch. I would have been petrified of that. Like if everything would have burnt down, I would have thought I would never be able to build this back. But I think just taking more risks, you know, wanting to learn more, having more of an open mind in terms of like, there's so many ways to do this in terms of building a business rather than just one fixated way. I would probably have listened to more people's opinions rather than just one person. And that's really, really important. Network more and don't be scared to ask people questions, you know, that are in your network you want to know. Put yourself in around people bigger than you. You know, a lot of my friends have got 1 million followers. Like before I would have been petrified to even approach somebody like that. So yeah, just take more risks and be more free and just think you can't fail. Because if you have that mindset and you want to learn and you're driven and you're ambitious, it will come to you anyway.
Let's talk a little bit about mental health and stress. How do you deal with stress? What's your way of de-stressing and making your balance better?
So I think set myself up for the day. Like the first thing that I'll do every single morning is take my electrolytes the first thing in the morning with water, go for a walk. I think that sets my mind up for the day. I cannot just jump straight into a desk or look at my phone. My phone's not getting looked at for the first hour of the day. I'll go outside for a walk around the marina at like 6:45, 7 a.m. where the sun's just about rising, expose myself to sunlight. So from a science standpoint, get you in a good mood. Then I get back and I meditate for 10 minutes every day. I've been meditating now for on and off, not consistently, for about 2 or 3 years. And it keeps me calm. It keeps me grounded. I think if I don't have at least, not even like a practice meditation, but a period of time where I have calm within the day, where I'm not on electronics or I'm not driven by stress, or, you know, I'm getting up late, for example, that's the biggest trigger that sets me off every single day if I was to lie in, you know, and I'll put myself in a really negative mood. I think grounding myself at the start of every day is really good. But I also train really hard as well. Like I train at 12:30, 1 p.m. every single day. And that is a huge measure of stress management as well. Good quality sleep, good quality diet, same food every single day. And obviously training hard as well, which is massive stress management.
What kind of meditation do you do?
So I use an app called Calm. Or Headspace is another one, but I use an app called Calm. 8-minute meditation, literally just guided breathing. If I'm outside and I don't have my phone on me, I'll literally just count my breath for 8 minutes, with try not to think about anything for a period of time, you know, and not getting frustrated if I do, is kind of the practice that I follow. And I think like it feels good to not think, because I think I've probably got ADHD, or because my brain's so hyperactive. Like if for a period of time, I don't think it feels like I've had a massage on my brain, and it feels like I've had a rest from not thinking, if that makes sense.
I would guess, knowing you so long and knowing you've probably got a bit of ADHD, but that's not a bad thing. It's just knowing how to manage it. But at the same time, it's a great thing in that I think it's caused you to help get you where you are now. That sheer determination and focus is a big help sometimes.
Yeah, it's a driver. I've not. It's been easier since I've had Rebecca, but since I was single, like I would not watch TV because I feel like it was a waste of time. I wouldn't play video games because I thought it was a waste of time. I'd have to be working on something or working towards something. But then that crippled me with fatigue because I'd overwork and nearly burn myself out. So like now, having Rebecca and having like my switch off at like 8:30 p.m, which is like I work from 6 to 8 and I have training in between. But before, I would work till 11 p.m. and then get up at 6 to do the same thing. And that's where the cycle's dangerous, because by day 3 or day 4, you've not had a day off and you're actually burning yourself out, and you're actually doing less work than you think because you're not productive. So that's kind of the danger that I had with my work rate and drive, was I'd work myself into the ground and not be productive because of that, and then get frustrated and try and work even harder and then burn yourself out. So that's why I got the mindset and mental performance coach to dial me in a little bit more.
So what does the future hold? You're there now. Your business is going well. I know you've made some changes. You've got sales in place to where you can become more working on and not in. So what's the future hold for you? How are you going to take it to the next level and scale? How do you see that happening?
So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll be one of the world's largest online body transformation organizations around. I want to take a much step away from coaching, where I'm coaching a select group of individuals. No, still coaching because I still love it, but managing my team and managing the strategy behind it. Not obviously having to do without as much work inside the business, work on it, and then probably creation of a few more businesses as well. You know, probably I'm obsessed about business. Like that's obviously my coaching is great and I love that, but what's been a huge passion for me is being able to build something, being able to manage something, you know, and kind of work with numbers as much as I can. So as much as obviously fitness has been this vehicle that got me into it, what's really driving me forward and exciting me more at 20, like when it's 25 now, is that business side of it. So I definitely think some avenue of work within maybe even the mentoring space within the next 2 to 3 years. I would love to kind of help more people achieve a business and a vehicle to success. And that would be really cool. And I have no doubt that I'll be doing, you know, other things down the line as well. I don't think I'm that kind of person that can do the one thing forever. I think I do need stimulation and change. So whether that's 3 or 4 years, and then we look at something else or a different model, or open up another business, then for sure. But I definitely think the fitness space for now, something I want to master and make a big impact in. But then who knows down the line for sure. There's definitely areas I want to improve in.
Very cool. So if you could give one piece of advice to somebody starting out in business, not necessarily in fitness, but in business, what would it be? Reflecting back, what would be the similar, I guess, to a question I asked you earlier, but is there one thing takeaway that if somebody was wanting to start, whatever it may be, is there any advice you'd give them?
Yeah, for sure. So follow your passion is the one piece of advice I would give. I mean, if you're passionate about delivering or building whatever you are, like that in its sense is going to be enough to get you the work done, even on the shit days, or even like everyone could do well on a good day, but it's a cold Tuesday night where it's raining, you've got loads of work to do. If you enjoy that work, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than if you don't. So when you build a business, don't just think, I want to build a business, I want to be successful. Think about, if you're going to do that for the next 10 or 15 years, what does that business need to be in so you can wake up every day and it doesn't feel like work? And of course, there's going to be tough days. Of course, it's going to be hard days, but try and find yourself a passion and a passion project rather than a job, if that makes sense. Otherwise, if you just start chasing the money, you've basically got a glorified job. It might pay yourself a little bit more money. You're working twice as many hours, but are you better off just going and getting a really high paid job? Build a business around your life and your passion.
Yeah, because when it gets hard, if it's not a passion, it's gonna get tiring quick. Very cool. So where can people, I mean, it's, as I said, to me, I think the age you're at, it's an inspiration for people to realize it can be done. You've gone through your journey, 4 years ago, your life looked very different. And that's amazing. If people want to find out more about you, contact your company for potential services, where can people find you? What's the best way of people getting hold of you, mate?
Instagram's probably best. It's JJ Transformations. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can. It's just Jack Jakes, JACQUES. I have got a podcast as well, which is Transform with Jack Jakes as well. So you can find me on that. Instagram's probably best in terms of communication.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, mate, for doing this. I know it's going to help a lot of people, give them the energy and inspiration to do whatever it is they're doing, because you've done it. You're living a great life. You're building a great thing, and the future looks bright. And that's going to help a lot of people. So thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Get Real podcast with Mark Lyford. Being an entrepreneur isn't all glitz and glamour. Entrepreneurs are some of the most hardworking people in the world. And within entrepreneurship, there's life, mental health, business, ups and downs. And that's why we exist. Our passion is to talk about all of it with no BS. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. Find Mark on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube at Mark Lyford. And be sure to hit the website, realetrepreneur.com. From there, get his book. You won't be disappointed. See you next time on Get Real.